In this video, we're going to be looking at 5 product research fails of things that you should not do, but I see a lot of people do. So let's get into the video straight away. Welcome if you're new here, welcome back if you're not. My name is Jonny Bradley, I'm founder of the Seller Pro Academy, where we help ordinary people create extraordinary things. So I wanted to create this video to try and help people that were trying to do product research to find something to sell on Amazon, but are really struggling with it. So I've identified 5 reasons or 5 kind of failure points where a lot of people get into if they haven't got the right education or the right mentorship. So let's get into these straight away. Now I do have a freebie for this video, so anyone that comments on this video is going to put themselves forward for a competition, and you're going to be getting access to some product research training, some really high level training that's taken directly out of my full Seller Pro Academy. So one or maybe more of you will be winning that. So make sure you do comment right now with Amazon FBA or throughout the video, and I'll be picking people every now and again. And what I'll do is I'll choose the winners on my Instagram story. So you'll have to follow me on Instagram at Jonny Bradley UK. Jonny Bradley UK, and I'll do a story, and all you have to do is contact me and I'll get you enrolled. You're going to get a ton of value from this video, and yeah, if you want to continue receiving the value, make sure you comment and give a little like as well, and of course follow on Instagram. The first thing that I see is the get rich quick mentality, and if you have sold on Amazon, or if you're currently doing it at the moment, you'll know that it's not something that happens overnight. It takes time. To put this into perspective, even the act of ordering a product from somewhere like China, there might be 20-30 days manufacturing. It might take anywhere between 14 and 30 days to be delivered into your country. So there's never going to be a quick money fix, right? And what you have to understand about starting an Amazon business or any business is that it's going to take time. So with product research, it normally happens when you're trying to find a product, particularly if you're a beginner and you've never actually done this before. So what sometimes happens, and I get this a lot on Instagram, saying, I don't know what to look for, or, it's taken me 2 weeks and I haven't found anything yet. Amazon FBA doesn't work, or I'm never going to find a product. Like, how is it possible? All the products are taken already. And this is a common concern for people that have this issue. And that's sort of like if you wanted to move house, either to buy or rent or as a business, and you look on Rightmove and you spend 2 weeks looking on Rightmove and you don't find any houses. And you go, oh well, I'm going to give up. There must not be any houses out there. There's never going to be any houses in the future, so I might as well give up. Obviously, that's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous. But it's sort of the same mentality of, I've tried it for a week and I haven't found anything, so obviously it doesn't work. Okay, and that's not the case. That can be farther from the case. And this first point really comes down to your mindset. So if this is you, then you have to understand that there's not a time limit of, if I've tried for 2 weeks and it hasn't worked, then obviously it doesn't work. It just means that you haven't identified the right methods to be able to find a product just yet, or you haven't been versed enough, you haven't practiced it enough to be able to literally see where the opportunity is. The moral of that particular story is to just be patient, have aggressive patience. So you really want to do it, you want to get there, but you understand that it does take time. Right, the second thing is using outdated methods. This is probably one of the biggest issues, is that you're using outdated methods. Now, if you search on YouTube and if you go on many different forums and different articles and websites, for a long time, the method was high sales and low competition. And a lot of people still go by that. However, what we've been able to identify in the Seller Pro Academy by doing this many times is that that's not the best way to do it. What we've been able to do is identify a method that allows you to actually bypass all of the nonsense and all of the people that are trying to scrap around for these rubbish products, which means that it might take a little bit longer, but it's more successful in the long run. What you have to understand that the landscape of Amazon as a marketplace is always changing. So even if there's a product that has high sales and low competition today, in the future, it's going to have high competition. So you need to be able to create your product and do product research, understanding that there will be high competition at some point in time. What a lot of people do when they're starting is they try and identify these high sales and low competition entry points, and then create a product to meet that market as it is today. But what you need to do is try and do research for the future. So you're looking at the landscape today, as in what's selling right now today, but you're also looking into the future as to how is this going to change over time? Will my product, or will my idea for a product still hold weight, still be good in a year's time when a lot more people have flooded to the market. So when you're doing research, don't just think about high sales and low competition. Of course, you need to have sales. That is a prerequisite. You do need high sales, but having the low competition isn't much of an issue anymore as long as you do the next thing that I'm going to be talking about. The third thing that people do is not find a gap in the market. What a lot of people do, because they've watched free videos, they've looked at free stuff online, which is outdated, they go and they find the product with high sales and low competition or whatever the product may be, and they think, okay, well, I need to stand out. I'm just going to bundle it with a product that is also purchased with this product. And what happens is that a lot of people get very lazy with creating the offer for their product. They think of it like, oh, well, I just need to stand out, so I'm going to bundle an ebook with my product because, no one else is bundling an ebook. But what you have to understand is that that's not why customers will buy your product. They're not going to buy your product because you've done something a little bit different to your competitors. They're going to buy your product if it's deemed to be more valuable to them or a better value for money. And the way you do this is by increasing the perceived value of your product, which means that someone looks at it and they go, this is a great deal. Look at how much I'm getting. Look how great this is. It's an amazing product and the brand's amazing and I do get all these awesome things with it, but it's only this amount. It's such a great deal. Once you're at that point and you can have the perception of a great deal whilst also having a good profit margin, that is the formula for success. That is where you want to be. But the issue is that a lot of people don't put the time in to be able to identify those needs. You need to be able to identify where that gap in the market is to be able to fulfill that gap. So as I said earlier, I'm currently working on a product and I've been doing this for quite a while. There's not an obvious gap in the market, but I have identified one. The way that I do it, and I have done it in the past, is use the products and don't just use them for a day or so. Actually use the products as if you're a consumer that really wanted to buy this particular product. Use it, understand what works well, what doesn't work well, look at all the reviews, look at the bad ones, the 1-star, the 2-star, the 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, and really identify what the customer needs are, what the customer wants are, and what needs and wants are not being fulfilled properly. If you come to this within a split second, you think, oh, here's the product and here's the gap in the market, you probably haven't got the gap in the market. First of all, someone's probably already done it if it's obvious. And second of all, it probably isn't the thing that's actually needed. My big bit of advice is just use the product. And you'll be astounded as to how many people don't actually use their product before they buy it. It's absolute nonsense. You have to understand the customer's point of view to be able to sell a good product. If you've enjoyed this video so far, hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment, which is also going to put you forward for the competition to get a free research course, which is taken directly out of my Full Seller Pro Academy. Mad value, all for free. The fourth thing is doing your due diligence checks. Now, this sounds boring because it is. It's very boring. It's tedious work. It is very annoying, but it's something that is very, very important. One of the big areas where people struggle is understanding the tests and standards that your product needs to have to actually be sold or imported and sold into your country. We're talking about, CE certifications, FBA, ISO test reports, and a whole number of different tests and technical information that your product needs to have. But look, it can be very tricky just simply to understand what's required of you. Never mind actually make sure the product does meet those standards. Just identifying what standards are required is actually quite hard. So if you're particularly good at researching, you will be able to use Google and be able to do this yourself. All the information is available online. But if you're like me and maybe you don't have the time to be able to go and do those things, or it's just confusing and you want someone else to do it for you, hire someone else to do it for you. You can literally go on Upwork and find people that will do this for you. And if you're thinking, oh, well, that's going to cost me money, yes, of course, it's going to cost you money, but you want to make sure that you get it right. Because if you haven't done your due diligence, and if you go, oh, well, I'll do my own research and I'll ask the supplier for what tests they have and I'll just take their word for it, that's all well and good. And that most of the time that will probably be absolutely fine. But let's say you didn't do that and one day Amazon require a certain certificate from you because the product is restricted and you don't have it and you can't get it because the product doesn't meet the standards. That's going to be very bad. And you wish you would have spent that extra $100 or $200 on getting someone to research this for you so you can get it right. So always make sure that you are thorough with your due diligence and making sure that your product is well researched and you understand it more than anyone. The fifth failure point for this video is the doozy, it's a big one, okay? And it's not getting enough profit margin. And look, I get it. If it's your first time researching a product, you might not have the support or the mentorship or the training to be able to identify all the costs, at which point you could make a mistake and then later on realize that your profit margin isn't what you wanted it to be. Or alternatively, you haven't been good at negotiating and you could have negotiated a better price and just didn't know that you could. Or you've created a product, you haven't added more value to the product, you've put it on Amazon and you had this idea that it was going to sell for £25, but really you can only get £20 for it. That's going to hit your profit margin massively. So what you want to do obviously is alleviate all of these things before you ever start selling, before you ever put a penny down on any stock. So what you first need to do is understand all of the costs that relate to your product and understand that your costs are going to be at the highest when you first launch your product, and they're going to gradually go down as you can have more buying power, i.e. buy more products. You can reduce your advertising by optimizing it over time. So you may not have the best profit margin that you'll have for your product, but you need to make sure it's good enough so you can run advertising, so you can reinvest profits and actually scale your business. So make sure you work out your costs correctly. Make sure that you're not diluted with the actual price that you'll be able to get for the product. If you're trying to command a higher price, the perceived value of the product needs to be very, very high compared to the competitors so that you can get a higher price than everyone else. And to create that higher perceived value, really think about the total ecosystem for that product. Think about the customer and what you can do to help them have a better experience and get the results that they're desiring. Let's just recap those. The first thing is approaching it with the get rich quick mindset. You need to scrap that and understand that it does take time. You can have aggressive patience, but it's going to take time. The second is using outdated methods to find products. So if you're just thinking, oh, I'm going to be able to do this by just searching through YouTube and I'll get all the information I need. Yes, you'll get all the information from 3 years ago, but you're not going to get the information that's working today. Number three is making sure that you find a gap in the market. If you don't find a gap in the market, if you don't spend enough time to be a customer, to understand their wants and their needs, you're never going to be able to fulfill that gap in the market, fulfill that need, and be able to stand out as a new seller. Number four is not doing due diligence checks. Make sure that you're doing all the checks that are necessary. You're adding up all the figures correctly. And if you struggle with that, find someone that will be able to help you do it. And number five is, of course, not getting a high enough profit margin. That's it for today's video. I really hope you did enjoy it. Make sure you do comment, like, and subscribe to put yourself in for that competition. That is it. So remember, you're just one product away. Bye-bye.